I am Zara Adekunle, and I am 39 years old. For most of my life, I believed loyalty was strength. I believed that if I showed up enough, sacrificed enough, and loved hard enough, my family would eventually see me, not as a convenience, not as a backup plan, but as someone worthy of respect. I was wrong. The night I learned that truth happened under crystal chandeliers, surrounded by laughter that wasn't meant for me. Before we continue, please like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me where you're watching from. Your support truly means everything. The anniversary celebration was held at Echelon Grand Hall, a luxury venue perched above the glowing skyline of New Crest City. Everything sparkled, polished marble floors, floor-to-ceiling windows, towering floral arrangements of white lilies and roses. It was my brother Kalen's 20th wedding anniversary with his wife, Maria, and nothing about the night suggested restraint. Money had been poured into every detail. I arrived right on time. I wore a charcoal blue dress I'd bought specifically for the event. Elegant, understated, tailored to fit me perfectly. Not flashy. Not cheap. Just right. Under my arm was a gift wrapped in pearl silver paper. Inside it was a custom-bound anniversary album I'd spent weeks creating. Photos from their early years, handwritten captions, moments even they had forgotten. It had cost me time, care, and 4.2 million Nigerian nairas in restoration and printing. I didn't mind. I never did. There she is. Kalen's voice rang out as soon as he saw me. But the tone wasn't warm. It was sharp, almost annoyed. I forced a smile and walked toward the family gathered near the bar. My mother stood tall in a gold-toned gown, her posture flawless. My father stood beside her, dignified and silent. My younger sister, Nessa, glanced at me and smirked into her glass. That should have warned me. Maria leaned in and brushed the air near my cheek. Her perfume was strong, cloying. "You made it," she said. "Of course," I replied, handing Kalen the gift. "Congratulations." He barely looked at it before passing it to Maria. "Thanks," he said quickly. "We'll open it later." Then he leaned closer. "We need to talk." The music swelled. Guests laughed. Glasses clinked. Everything looked perfect, but my chest tightened. That familiar feeling crept up my spine. The one that always came right before I was reminded that I didn't quite belong. "Okay," I said softly. "What's wrong?" "It's about how you look," my mother said, her voice low but sharp. "Zara, this is a high-profile event." I looked down at myself. "What's wrong with my dress?" "It's not about wrong," Maria said smoothly. "It's about what fits the image. There are investors here. Strategic partners. My brother's company. The same tech firm I helped launch 6 years earlier. The same one currently breathing because of the 275 million Nigerian nairas loan I had personally guaranteed when no financial institution believed in him. But no one ever mentioned that part. "I think I look appropriate," I said, heat rising in my chest. "That's the issue," Nessa chimed in, swirling her wine. "You think you do." My father cleared his throat. "Let's calm down." "No," Kalen interrupted, stepping closer. "She needs to hear this." His voice shifted, the polished executive tone. "You embarrass us sometimes, Zara. The way you speak. The way you always bring money into things." My fingers curled slightly. "I embarrass you?" He guided me a few steps away from the crowd, his grip firm on my arm. "I wanted to handle this privately, but you're making it difficult." "I'm not making a scene," I said. "Lower your voice," he snapped. And suddenly I saw it. This wasn't my brother anymore. This was CEO Kalen Adekunle, the man who'd forgotten the nights he slept on my couch after his first startup collapsed. The man who forgot who paid for his coding certification when he couldn't afford groceries. Maria appeared beside him, calm and rehearsed. "We've wanted to address something for a while," she said. "Your constant reminders about how much you've helped. It's uncomfortable." "I don't." "You do," she cut in. "Family dinners. Holidays. Always positioning yourself as the savior." That wasn't true. But truth didn't matter when a narrative had already been written. I looked at my parents. My mother's face stayed neutral. My father stared at the floor. Nessa smiled. "We think," Kalen said slowly, "you need boundaries. This is my success. Stop acting like you built it." My chest burned. "I never said that. I'm proud of you." "Then prove it," he replied. "Stop making everything about you." Then he said the words that ended everything. "Maybe you should leave." I stared at him. "Leave? You're embarrassing us," he said louder now. "Go." Heads turned. Phones lifted. Then he reached into his jacket and pulled out an envelope. "And since you're leaving," he said, opening it so the papers spilled out. You can handle this. He raised the invoice. The catering bill, 3.1 million Nigerian nairas. A hush spread nearby. Pay it, he said coldly. If you want to contribute for once. Something inside me went still. I took out my phone. Transferred the money. Maria's phone chimed. Paid, I said calmly. Anything else? His smile faltered. No speech, I added. Consider the catering my gift. I turned and walked out. And behind me, the celebration continued, unaware that the foundation holding it together had just walked away. The moment I closed my car door, the composure I'd borrowed for survival cracked. My hands shook so badly I had to sit there with my forehead pressed against the steering wheel, breathing slowly until the world stopped spinning. The laughter from the party above floated faintly into the underground parking lot. Music, applause, joy that no longer included me. I'd paid 3.1 million Nigerian nairas to be publicly dismissed, reduced to a nuisance, erased. What hurt wasn't just the humiliation. It was the precision of it. They had planned that moment. The envelope. The audience. The timing. Kalen hadn't snapped. He'd prepared. And that meant something far worse than anger. It meant intention. I drove home in silence. By the time I reached my apartment, my phone was buzzing nonstop. Family group chats. Missed calls. Notifications. I ignored all of it and kicked off my heels, standing in the dark of a space I'd paid for alone, lived in alone, and quietly resented myself for not upgrading years earlier. I could have afforded better. I always could. But every spare naira had gone somewhere else. Somewhere called family. I sat on the couch and stared at the wall until my phone buzzed again. A video. It was from Nessa. 36 seconds long. Grainy. Focused tightly on Kalen handing me the envelope, my face frozen in disbelief before I masked it. Her caption read, "When you finally stand up to a narcissist." My chest tightened. So that was the story now. Not the sister who paid for coding classes. Not the one who co-signed a 275 million Nigerian nairas loan when banks laughed. Not the woman who stepped in quietly, repeatedly, without asking for praise. I was the narcissist. I turned my phone face down and went to bed fully dressed, staring at the ceiling until dawn. The next morning, I made coffee I barely touched and opened my laptop. I logged into my financial dashboard, the one I'd avoided for months. The numbers stared back at me, unkind and undeniable. My retirement account, 142 million Nigerian nairas. My savings, 38 million Nigerian nairas. Investments tied up in long-term assets I couldn't liquidate quickly. And then there it was. The loan. 275 million Nigerian nairas. Personally guaranteed. If Kalen's company collapsed, the bank wouldn't come for his pride. They'd come for me. I closed my eyes. There was only one person who could confirm what my gut already knew. At 10:17 a.m., I called Daniel Cross, the company's finance director. We weren't close friends, but his wife and I had gone to university together. He answered on the second ring. Zara, he said carefully. I was wondering when you'd call. My stomach dropped. So it's bad, I said. There was a pause. It's worse than you think. He didn't sugarcoat it. The company was bleeding cash. A major equipment lease had fallen through. Payroll was tight. Vendors were already uneasy. The only reason creditors hadn't panicked was because of one thing. You, Daniel said quietly. Your guarantee. I felt a strange twist in my chest. Pride and dread colliding. If I pull it, I asked, what happens? The loan is called, he replied. Immediately. He'll have 30 days to replace the collateral or repay. And Zara, I need to tell you something. I braced myself. Kalen's already moved most personal assets into Maria's name. If the company fails, he'll declare bankruptcy. You won't. The silence after that felt deafening. So he knew, I whispered. He knew I was the only thing holding everything together. Yes, Daniel said. He knows. I thanked him and ended the call. I sat there for a long time, unmoving. Everything made sense now. The entitlement, the cruelty, the confidence with which he humiliated me. He thought I was trapped, that my love would keep me silent, that my fear would keep me paying. By Monday morning, my decision was made. I dressed carefully, not for revenge, but for clarity. I wore the suit I reserved for difficult negotiations. Calm colors, sharp lines, no softness. At exactly 9 a.m., I walked into Horizon Trust Bank. I need to speak with a senior loan officer, I told the receptionist. It's urgent. They placed me in a glass-walled conference room with Mr. Lionel Grant, the same man who had processed Kalen's loan years earlier. He recognized me instantly. "Ms. Adekunle," he said politely. "How can I help?" "I want to withdraw my personal guarantee on loan account 771029, I said evenly. His eyebrows lifted. "That is unusual. The relationship between myself and the borrower has materially changed," I replied. "I am no longer comfortable carrying the financial risk." He pulled up the account. As he scrolled, his expression tightened. "If you proceed," he said carefully, "this will trigger immediate review. The loan is contingent on your backing. Without it, we'll issue a call notice or demand replacement collateral within 30 days. "I understand," I said. "They're already on a watch list," he added quietly. "I understand," I repeated. He studied me for a moment, then nodded. "We'll begin the process. Formal notice will go out within 72 hours. "Thank you." I walked out feeling lighter than I had in years, and terrified all at once. Kalen called me 3 days later. He didn't say hello. "What the hell did you do?" he shouted. I lowered the volume and set the phone on the counter. "I made a business decision," I said calmly. "You're destroying me," he yelled. "You're pulling the floor out from under my family." I thought of the envelope, the crowd, the bill. "No," I said. "I'm stepping away from a role you never respected." "You're doing this because your feelings were hurt," he spat. "Grow up." I smiled sadly. "No," I said. "I'm doing this because you showed me exactly who you are." He went silent. And in that silence, I knew the next chapter was coming. Kalen showed up at my apartment 3 days later. I knew it was him before I even opened the door. The frantic knocking, the uneven rhythm, the desperation woven into every sound. When I finally did open it, I barely recognized the man standing in front of me. He looked smaller. His usually sharp beard was untrimmed. His shirt wrinkled, eyes bloodshot, shoulders slumped forward as though the weight of everything he'd avoided had finally landed on him. Behind him stood Maria, her mascara streaked, arms folded tightly across her chest. And behind her, my parents. The full delegation. "Zara," my mother said immediately, stepping forward. "Baby, let's talk." "No," I replied calmly. "You can talk. I'm listening." Kalen swallowed hard. "I was wrong," he said. "I was stressed. The business is falling apart. I didn't mean what I said at the party." I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, unmoved. "You didn't mean to humiliate me?" I asked quietly. "You didn't mean to hand me a bill in front of investors and family? You didn't mean to call me an embarrassment?" He flinched. Maria stepped forward. "I pushed him," she said quickly. "I was jealous. He always talked about you, about how you saved him, how you believed in him. I wanted him to stop comparing me to you." I nodded slowly. "So you both decided to destroy me instead." My father cleared his throat. "Zara, family fights happen. We shouldn't let pride ruin everything." I laughed once softly. "Pride didn't ruin this. Entitlement did." Kalen dropped to his knees. Actually dropped. "I'll apologize publicly," he sobbed. "I'll tell everyone the truth. I'll pay you back. Please. I have 30 days. If the loan is called, I lose everything. The house. The company. Maria's pregnant again." That sentence hung in the air. A few months ago, it would have shattered me. I would have folded instantly, found a way, sacrificed again. But now, all I felt was a deep, bone-tired clarity. "I'm sorry about the baby," I said. "Truly. But that doesn't change what you did." My mother began to cry. "Must you be so hard?" she whispered. "After everything we've been through?" I looked at her then. Really looked. "When I drove you to chemo," I said softly, "was I hard? When I paid your mortgage for 6 months," I continued, "was I hard? When I put my entire financial future on the line for your son," my voice steadied, "was I hard then?" No one answered. "I was only good enough when I was useful," I said. The moment I asked for respect, I became the problem. Kalen reached for me. "I understand now," he pleaded. "Please don't do this." I stepped back. "You understand too late." I closed the door. They stayed outside for nearly half an hour. Knocking. Crying. Bargaining. I sat on the floor with my back against the door and cried too. Not for them, but for the version of myself that thought love meant endurance. 2 months later, Kalen Adekunle Technologies filed for bankruptcy. The loan was called. The assets vanished. Maria left. Kalen moved back into my parents' home. The same home where he once coded in the basement while I worked double shifts to keep the lights on. I heard about it through mutual acquaintances, through whispers, through the silence of people who once praised his brilliance and now avoided his name. Sometimes he sends messages. I get it now. I wish I'd listened. You were always my backbone. I don't respond. My life is quieter now. My consulting firm has doubled in size. I take clients I actually enjoy. I go to therapy every Tuesday without guilt. I eat dinner with friends who don't see me as a resource. I laugh more. Sleep better. Some days, I don't think about my family at all. People expect a happier ending. Reconciliation. A tearful reunion. But real healing doesn't always look like forgiveness. Sometimes it looks like distance. Sometimes it looks like choosing yourself without apology. I lost money. I lost a brother. But I gained something far more valuable. Peace. And if you've ever been the one who carried everyone else, who sacrificed quietly, who was only loved for what you provided, please know this. Walking away doesn't make you cruel. It makes you free. Thank you for staying with this story. Please like,